Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to learn what really happens on Git and how this protocol works. So this is very important lecture, and I'll be repeating myself a couple of times to make sure that the base understanding is there. So first of all, let's create a scenario. So as a developer, you are working onto your local machine. Okay, this is your local machine. Maybe I take a different color probably. So this is your local machine. Okay, and you have let's say created these files. So you have created two files, cake.txt and these two files. Okay, and once these two files has been coded from your side, what you want is you want to save these files so that you don't lose them. Okay, so what you do is you run a command which is called git add. Okay, and what this command do is within your system, within your local system, it creates a copy of this file. For now we'll call it copy, but it's not exact copy of this file, but kind of index of these files only, and save them within the .git folder. So let's say you are working on the project's root. Okay, you are working on to your project's root directory, and on this directory you have created these two files, cake.txt and frosting.txt. So once you run this git add command in .git folder, which will be onto your root directory, these two files will be added. Okay, and this addition of these files into .git directory is called staging these files. Okay, and let's say after this, if you by chance delete these two files, you can retrieve them from your staging area. Okay, now there is one more thing. So let's say you created these two files, you stage them, then again you made one more change in your frosting.txt. Okay, and again you ran git add and they are added into your staging area. So it would be very hard for you to identify from staging area which version of this particular file you need to get back. So once you perform git add, what you additionally do is we call it git commit. So once you run git commit command, you can also give a message, let's say first change, and you can say second change. Okay, and after that, let's say you delete these files or by mistake these files are lost, you can retrieve from your staging area. You can see that okay, from first change you can identify this commit, and only first change file you can retrieve here, or you want second change. So the very first part of understanding it is that from your local machines, once you're done with the coding, you add them into your staging area. Okay, and once these files are added into your staging area, they are kind of saved. So if needed, they can be retrieved back. Okay, otherwise what other purpose you may have is to share these files with your friends. So what you do is you push these files onto the repository. So here we are talking about repository like GitHub. Okay, so what you do is you run a command like git push. Okay, and we will see about these commands in depth in later stage, but first to build the concept, what you will be doing is you will be running commands like git push. And what git push do is from your staging area, it pushes all the changes or indexes to the repository, which is your GitHub repository. If these files are very first time pushed, complete file you would be able to see there. If these files are pushed second or third time with second commit, only the changes can also be seen in here. So on your GitHub you will also get to see all of these commits that you have performed on your local machine. And if your manager wants to see okay what changes you have done in your second commit, so he can very easily see that. Okay, from git push, only the staged files can be pushed onto the repository, not the file which are still in your working directory. So in order to share these files to someone else, you need to put them first in staging area. And why so is that because in your working directory you may have continuous changes, and some of the changes you may not even want to share. So there is a safety area, you can call it, where you pushes your file from your working directory to safety area once you're ready to share that further. Or once you have identified that this is a stable version of code, you're still going to do further modification into your files. But in case those modifications are not good, you may want to retry from your staging area. So anytime when you have stable code, you can push from your working directory to your staging area, and once you're satisfied with this code, you can push that to the repository so that other people can pull that code from the repository. Okay, so this is the very basic concept of how to utilize Git. Okay, and in your system, how Git works we'll see in our next steps. Okay, and before that, before we go towards our system implementation, again I would want to repeat a few things. Using git push, only staged file changes can be pushed to the repository. Okay, this is very important to know. So if you have not ran these two commands, git add and git commit, your files are not staged, so you won't be able to push to the repository. Treat staging area as your safety net, and whenever you feel you have a stable code, keep on putting it into the stable area or safety area. So let's say as a developer I'm working onto this cake.txt file, and I know for the whole day, for the 8 hours of my working 8 working hours, I'm going to work on this file. And a general example, as a manager, what I would expect is after 2 hours or before going to lunch, you make sure you push your code to the staging area, because of any reason, if you lose these two files, okay, you will have to redevelop the code. So that's the thing that is going to save lots of your effort. So keep pushing your code from your working directory to staging area in your day-to-day life. As much code as you would want to push, that's better. Every time give a very very clear git commit message, and make sure always you use proper grammatical structure, because if you're going to work in a MNC environment, it shows how competent developer you are if you use proper git messages, so that everything is very clear to the person who is when your code goes to the repository, someone is going to review that code before merging into the mainstream. So it is very easy for him if you put proper messages. They can understand the code very easily. Okay, and other best practices is that so first best practice I want to suggest is very frequent pushing, very frequent adding to the staging area. The second thing is, on your repository generally you would have a separate branch for your feature where you would be working. Okay, or you would have your own branch. So try to push that code over repository as well. As much code as you would want to push, or multiple times you would want to push, that's still okay. Okay, and this also shows that the time gaps and everything is recorded when you push the code towards the repository. And let's say you push 3 times your code in a day onto the repository, and as a other person I have pulled this version of your code, which is your final code, but later on I found an issue, and then you identify, okay, this issue happened because you have done this third commit and you would want him to pull from the second commit. So rather than you taking back from your staging area that particular code, that person can directly take from the repository as well. Okay, so that makes things bit easier. So if you push multiple time on repository, that's also easier and comparatively better practice. Okay, but depending upon your company, you may have different practices, so always follow best practices that your company suggests. But as many time as you would want to push your code, I would suggest you to do that. Thank you very much.